So converting in the DMs. Okay, we all know that if you're providing a service and you're not utilizing the DMs, no matter how big or how small you are, then you are going to struggle. Okay, people want to be listened to, they want to be heard, especially if you're providing a service. And if you look at the journey, start to finish, so they're a non-follower, and then they go into being a follower, of course. And this is from consuming your content. At this point, you're going to start to nurture them through your content and your calls to action, and they might get like a free lead magnet or something like that. It's absolutely fine. How do you get this one now from being a full-time paying client? Okay, we're going to talk about this section here. And that section there is when they feel like a connection towards you. And this is the DM process. Boom. All right, so this is what we're going to go through now, because it's not just easy as going, hi, how are you? And then they just buy. It doesn't work like that, okay? This, my friends, I like to refer the DM game as the dating game, and it is a game. Okay, so whenever you're thinking about how you're interacting, it's like you would if you were a boy and you're trying to persuade the person. Notice said persuade, not manipulate, into ideally getting onto either a VSL, video sales letter, or a sales call. All right. So this is the thought process now. So this is the center of the board for a good reason. All right. So how do you initiate it to start off with? So the initial message, the first one, can be straight off the back of them following. Follow message. You've automatically started that relationship there. Okay. It could be when they've interacted. So that's a poll, or they've liked something, or they've give a comment to you. That's absolutely fine. If the person is also, so that, let's say in the story, go DM team to find out more about my services or for a 3 weeks training. If they've done that, that is a golden goose, because they've reached out to you ideally. All right. So if you don't reach out to them and they've reached out to you, it's always a winner. Fantastic. When you have your first initial message, or every single message, there are certain laws here, like in the dating game as well, is that just think about it. If someone's coming up to you at the bar, and you go, hi mate. So like, hi mate, how are you? Oh yeah, good, thank you. It's an open-ended question, cool. Doesn't really work with this actually, if I'm honest. You need to be a bit more finite. Hi Daniel, personal name, so it's all personal. You can't just be like vague, because they'll just, especially if you've got a big following as well. They'll think that you're just anyone. I always get messages now saying, "Oh, is this like an assistant or a chat bot?" So it's personal to them. You go, that post we were looking at about in terms of gut health and nutrition. Is this something you're struggling with at the moment? Not too long. Specific to what the post was. Short and sweet. Specific. This is the initial message. Remember, yeah. So this is the first message. Specific as well. Short, sweet, specific. And then you'll notice this one, because I'm going to keep saying it to you, with question. You finish with a question. Don't let that person do a walkout on you, all right? So that's the initial message needs to be ideally, this whole thing, you're trying to build trust, looks like they are the only person on earth that you've reached out to and you've spoken to, all right? So that's the first message. Right, get into the crux of the conversation now. Like the dating game, there are some rules of the jungle here, okay? And not the one that is in The Gentleman saying that the lion eats. There's another few ones where you don't get the person to walk out too soon. My favourite one is don't blow your load too soon. Okay, obviously, because you're gonna at some point. And yes, there's a reason. I've obviously put that for obvious reasons. The innuendo. Do you know what innuendo is? It's an Italian suppository. Think about that one. There you go. Right, so don't blow your load too soon. And what this means is that at the beginning, you've just said hello. Oh, are you struggling with your gut health? They go, yeah, I am. They go, great, cool, let's get on a call and we'll talk about it more. Walkies, okay? So don't blow your load too soon. You have to start off with some qualifying questions, but you're not going to use them as qualifying questions. You keep it nice and light. So the two ones there is qualifying cues, light, and like you're talking to your mate. Like you're chatting on, okay? The reason why you want to do it like this is because even if it is something serious that you're selling, is again that person is going to feel like it's all driven towards them. Shock, horror. When people on LinkedIn, it's so robotic, it's so hard to sell there. It's because no one talks like they actually talk in real life. All right, so treat the person like they are a person. We'll get more into in terms of the qualification questions, that's fine. Another thing as well, match the volume. So what that means is that if they're giving paragraphs, you give paragraph back. If they're giving sentences or one word, you give shorter ones as well. But always end with questions, okay? Match size of message, okay? And the reason why is you don't want to be too keen. Remember, back to the dating game, too keen, everyone's had that back in the day. If someone's mad, like you thought they got quite attractive, they got mad keen on you and you just got the ick on them, all right? Whether we like it or not, we're human nature, we want something that is hard to attain. And if it's so easy, it's on the plate for us. Personally, not for me. And lastly, value plus 10% rule. Okay, the 10% rule is basically that when you're talking to someone, if you're more than 10% is showing your authority and how better articulated you are with that certain topic, they're going to switch off. It's the same with content as well, right? If you're less than that, they think, oh, well, what's the point in even doing this in the first place as well? And then a really key part of this is that when you are talking, I actually think it's probably do you know what? I'm going to put it as the most important at the top. Not that these are all respectively the same anyway, but is to acknowledge what they've said. Like when you're dating or like someone's, I don't know, I don't do drugs, but when you go to the afters at 6 o'clock in the morning and everyone's just doing that coke chat and just speaking at each other, no one likes that. Acknowledge what they've said, okay? Don't blow your load too soon, so don't go, oh, let's book a call in after a couple questions. Qualification questions, which we're going to go into in a bit, okay? And I'll go into some examples as well. Light-hearted, nothing too serious and corporate because it looks like an AI, which we definitely don't want. All right. End it always with questions. So don't have the sentence and leave it there. You always end it with questions. All right. Match the size of the message, whether it's a paragraph. If it's a paragraph, you go a paragraph. If it's one line, you go one line. If it's a small message, you go a small message with the question mark. Okay, like we said before. And then trying to give value where you can. Not too often because they haven't asked for it yet, but it's just show the authority like you do in your content that you do know more than they do in that certain topic, all right? So before we go on to what some good questions, a bad example and a good example would be, here's some qualification questions, okay? Because, believe it or not, some of the highest paying clients I've ever had, their profile picture, their Instagram profile look like this. Nothing there. They might have had 43 followers and they followed 100 and they had no posts. Look like that. It was abysmal. And then you start talking to them and they're someone who's heavy into Bitcoin in San Francisco, absolutely loaded, polluted and loves your content. You just never know, all right? So you've got to qualify them first, all right? So obviously it's whatever your niche is. So you go, it's age, location. This is very important, by the way. I have some that I definitely don't do. Age, location, job. Probably the most important is the struggles. So what's the pain points? We get them early on before the sales call. So what they actually struggle with, age, location, job, struggles, what they're passionate about. You can relate to them. You can leverage that as well. Lifestyle, what they spend their money on. You can also do an IG audit of this. So you actually look on their Instagram. Okay. And we're going to get into these questions why they're important because we're going to use them for our standard operating procedures shortly when you're delegating all your DM work to someone else. And then if you're not sure about these, this is the first stage, okay, of qualification. If you're really not sure about it, what you do is then you double down. So you're almost like asking again, the same question, be asking it twice over. If they are looking to be coached, it's a bit like asking someone if they're looking to be fucked. Quite contentious. They're looking to be coached, and then how much they want to spend. Okay, this is all before the close. When I say the close, it's when you get them on the call. That's the bit when you go, fancy come back to mine, babe. These are all the important. So for me, for example, or the best ones is that if you're too young, they can't afford it. Too old, and you're selling a fitness program, it's pointless. So for me, it'd be 25 to 45. You know, they're financially available as well. They've probably got a job. Location, for example, low income places like I don't do Africa, I don't do Asia. Where else? I don't do South America. And then there's a few specific countries I'm not going to get into why I don't do them as well. It's just the type of people that you have to sell to. It's awful, all right? Job, you can work this out in terms of if they can actually afford it. And if it's in terms of, let's say it costs 2K for you, and they earn 20k a year, it's pretty hefty, okay? So you like to think that they can actually afford this, and it's not like it's either half a monthly wage or, I mean, max, if you're high ticket, that is, all right? There's struggles, so fat loss, so it's nutrition based, for example. They're passionate about football and kids, their kids. Hang on, let's be careful about that, their kids. Their lifestyle, you have a look at it, is that they like going to the footy, love going to Dubai, love watches, something to relate to, loves pictures with mates. And that's important for something like that. Why do you think it's important? It's because obviously, if he's struggling with fat loss and he's getting pictures of his mates, I bet he ain't got his top off in the pictures. Or if he has, this is something you can, small little finite things you can identify pain points with that person, all right? Right, let's have some actual examples of what's a good example and a bad example when we talk like this now. And I'll give two for each, okay? So the big one now is that someone said to you, they go, right, well, recently my mum's died. It's pretty tough on us, and now I'm down in the pits and not too sure what to do about it. Okay, so a bad example would be to say something like, so they said, my mum's died. We're really struggling as a family at the moment, and now I'm down in the pits. So a bad example would be like, cool. Are you looking to shed 1 to 2 kg of fat per week? So, question mark, brilliant. 1 to 2 kg of fat per week. You can even say that's our average. So it's really finite, and it's like exactly what you do as well. And you're asking a question, all right? However, cool, based off him just going, yeah, my mum's died, and I feel pretty grim about it. This is totally irrelevant because of that bit there. So yes, you got your question mark. Yes, it's finite. They might have given you a paragraph. You put a paragraph in there as well. Okay, cool, it sounds like it's not too like corporate. However, you just fucked it. You need to identify what they say. So, good option of this would be, or a better version would be, mate. And then use of emojis, underrated. So underrated. So how do you do the sad face? Mate, that's so unfortunate. I've had something similar in last 3 months. How are you finding it since the start? Right, not one bit of fitness in there. However, you're playing the long game. That's so unfortunate. I've had something similar happen to me, so you're connected with them. I know what you're going through. And because I know what you're going through, how you finding it since it first started to what happens now. People will talk about bereavement, how it never gets easier. Okay, so go into that for now. And then because their answer back like, yeah, still is. To be honest, it's not got any easier. If anything, the only thing that's changed is that I've just put on more and more fat. Like, and then again, you use the same thing. You say, yeah, I had something similar. Food is a common thing to go towards when you're struggling and you're trying to mourn someone. How much weight have you put on, if you don't mind me asking? And then he gets into the numbers, and then that is when you start using this. So are you looking to lose a bit of weight now? Yeah, sure. How much? Yeah, I am. Great. Well, at least you're looking to do that. It's something really positive. How much are you looking to lose? 1 kg. Well, actually, people on average lose 1 to 2 kg per fat with us as well. All right. So there's an example of a good and bad. Playing the long game with this one as well. Give you another example. Their initial message is when they start off to an absolute blinder. They're keen. They're in bed. Their head's on the pillow and they're thinking, I want to fucking change. And they go, mate, I need to be coached by you. What should I do? Bad things to do is, hey, cool, let's jump on a call to speak about it. Sound good? Okay. Hey, cool, nice and easy. Let's jump on a call. Yeah, that's what you're trying to get. At the end of this whole process, you're trying to get onto a call to put them in a state of euphoria where you can actually sell to them. However, doing it off the back of the first message, too easy. It's like someone come up to you and go, want to come home with me straight away? No. Get to know the person a little bit. Get to know the finite little things, because you're going to have to use them anyway. So if someone says that to you, they're uber keen when they first start out. It'd be like, hey Jack, good to hear. Love the energy. What's got you to this headspace? You seem raring to go. Okay, I haven't, so there's an exclamation mark after this. I haven't finished with the question mark here. However, when you've asked the question and then you say something like this, he's not gonna not respond to you. If you want to be airtight with that, what you can do is you can say, hey Jack, good to hear, love the energy. What's got into you? You seem raring to go. What's the change in headspace? That's probably a better way of doing it. But you can do it like this as well. People will still reply to you. Okay, still matey. You still want to understand the qualification questions, and you're not got jumping straight into it on the call. That's a really common one. All right. Remember, this is all great, but to actually close off the back of all the qualifications, you've got someone who's really good. How do you actually do it? What does the end closing message look like when you actually want to book it? And this is very important, the latter part of the DM stage. So when you actually are booking, you need to find times and stuff like that. So someone says, yeah, I think I'm ready to start something, or I think I'm looking for a little bit of help with nutrition. Like, yeah, sure, we can potentially look into that. So it's not like absolutes the whole time. So if you put absolutes with anything, people switch off. So no absolutes. So this is the close stage of the DMs. Okay, no absolutes. It's more discovery. So we can have a look into this for you. It's discovery. And another thing, it is specific with time. So you dictate the time to them, all right? So you will say, let's say 5 p.m. Tuesday, within 24 hours, try and get it, because they've got that headspace. You've got to try and keep that headspace with them as well. If you give them the link or give them the time like that, they're just going to do walkies, all right? So you have to be specific with the time, and a bit of smoke and mirrors with it. What I mean by that is that you have to make out you're busier than you are, especially if you're starting off, all right? Not free today, especially it's the afternoon anyway, it doesn't matter. Be free tomorrow at this time, and don't do it the earliest time. Don't go, oh yeah, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. Have like a really specific time to them, okay? So it'll give them that aura of that you are busy and you are very good at what you're doing anyway, all right? So all these things are really, really important. So what the closing message would look like is something like, we can look into this. I'll have to hear more about those burgers. It's funny, it's finite, it's cheeky. Burgers though. I'm only free 4:45 Tuesday. Then put in brackets, it's busy at the moment. And then question, how's that for you? Cool, simple. How's that for you? And they're like, yeah, cool, sounds great. All you'll do then is go, sweet. I'll send you an invite to be a Google Meet. I'll send you an invite. What's your email and your number? It'll give you an invite to remind you. Okay. So email, number. You're also going to collect these, obviously, put it into a database, whatever you're using, your CRM or Go High Level, whatever it is the shit you've got, or if you've just got Google Docs, it's fine. And then you've got that person's details, great. And then that's the calls booked in there. You don't just stop talking to them. Okay, so once that's booked in, give it a couple of hours. You'll have automated messages if you're using Calendly or something like that. My suggestions for automated messages is you do email. These are reminders. You do 12 and 24 hours. You do text 3 and 1 hour before, and then I would sometimes do actually 15 minutes as well. 15 minutes just to let them know that it's happening as well. So they've got all those these are all the automated ones, all right? However, in the DMs itself, you're still talking to them. So 3 hours afterwards, re-engage. Nothing to do with, let's say, for example, if it's fitness. So you're just chatting on about the burgers you spoke about Brighton Hove Albion playing at the weekend or Arsenal playing at the weekend, and you start talking about that, okay? Until it gets to the point where he's got the automated messages and stuff like that. And when it does get to the 3 hour mark, before the call, that is when you go, have you got a link, mate? Cool. And at this point, you go, oh shit, completely forgot. Even though he's got all of these reminders and stuff like that, I'm gonna have to postpone. Cool. And at least you know that person's is not a no-show. Okay. Another way you can pre-qualify, which I've done recently, is you set when you book a call, you go, hi mate, just to save time on the call, here's exactly what our service looks like. And you can sell a video of you, like a VSL, going through your services itself, so they know exactly what they're going to buy on there. So that is when it's post-booking. You give a VSL of services, like a YouTube video of your services, exactly of what you're doing and what to expect. And then, so if it's That's straight away, ideally. And then I quite like, personally, just before the call, to get them really excited, so you stop a no-show, is you show a success story. Send it to them out of the blue. Success story and what happened and what you did with them. This is so-and-so went from this to this. This is exactly what we did with them as well. Okay, it keeps them excited, right? It keeps them in the game, because a lot of people will sleep that night and then think the next day, actually, I can't be asked to do this. And then once you sell them that, you go, actually, this is probably worth it, all right? So if you are going to send, these are post-booking, you're going to send them something, it's what your services is, and then the success story as well, because that's going to stop them from having not being a no-show. Sorry, is that double negative? Yeah, it is. It does make sense. At this point, they're on to the bloody call, and that's when your closers or you do the job, all right? But like I said, a lot of this has to be SOPs. So if you have SOPs in place and you want to delegate these to other people to do it for you, and it's like a summary, this is what you need to put over to them. So firstly, who you want them to message, when, location. Okay, you can see where people are from as well. So that's the big ones there. Whether they need to use a VPN, that's quite important as well. Never forget that as well. So if it's who, it could be like only people who are new followers, or people on polls, etc., etc. Okay, the style. So corporate, I don't think you would need to, but vague, cheeky. With AI now, it makes it a lot easier, especially if people are normally, so if the VAs are normally from the Philippines, these are from the Philippines or South Africa, then you know that'd be the case, all right? You give people a script as well, like an example of a script, but in terms of the SOPs in place, you have all your qualifying questions. So you'd have like qualifying questions, but you need to know before booking call, okay? And these could be the things like we spoke about. So it'd be like location, age, hobbies, all these things we spoke about. It's specific to you. Okay, so people need to know that, all right? You also have when to send the 2 videos at the end. PSL and success story. All right, so when you're sending them, and then the crux of the whole conversation itself is some little rules that you have in place. All right, so you have almost like your 10 commandments. So what my ones are is obviously don't blow your load too soon. It would be match the energy that they're having as well, or match the length that they're having. Make sure you identify with what they say first before you have the question at the end. Okay, so you've identified what they said, some sort of qualification question. All right, and then you have 6 of them. Cool, you have 6 of them, great. And then you make sure that you're almost like nurturing them afterwards. Okay. And then the remessage, you can have it like, for example, you've got a VSL for a 7-week program, you can have a remessage after 3 days, because it's in the middle of it, the end of it after 7 days, and then you can have a remessage after 14, and then concurrently through that, they'll probably be getting some sort of email drip campaign as well. All right, so you have your SOPs in place. These are the things you need to consider if you're going to delegate this DM work to either a VA, a setter, a partner, whoever else, all right? So that's the DM process. That's it, really broken down. It's not as simple as like, hey, let's jump onto a call or buy my program. The big one, which I actually haven't mentioned, is that when someone asks the price, this is very simple. Someone asks you the price in the DMs, obviously don't tell them, okay? Because they don't know your program yet. Even if you send them the VSL, don't tell them, all right? And people always say after that, go, oh, wow, this looks professional. Don't tell them. Okay, all you've got to say to that is that I'm going to work out. So when someone asked about the price, so what is it? So what's the price? Or can I have just I don't want to waste your time. Can I just have a vague idea of the price? All you say is, yeah, duh. I should have said, lol. Keep it funny. Don't say I can't give you a price. Say it ranges. Give it a ridiculous range where your price is about in the middle. So from 300 to 13k, and then you just give them a big old range, and then at the end you say, I don't know what you are, so that's why on the call we're gonna work out exactly what's best for you. Sound good? And then they're not gonna challenge that because they actually don't know. I just don't want to overcharge you, mate. That's all it is, all right? Not that I don't want to undercharge you, so I don't want to overcharge you. Like you're doing them a favor, and they're like, oh, okay, sweet. And that's one I should have mentioned there. But that is, you can also put that into the SOPs as well, to make sure that when that does come, that your people who are messaging for you aren't constantly asking, what should I say, what should I say? Because that's the big one here. And if people are really pressing for it, they've got the range here. It could be 300, or it could be 13K. If they've got, I can only afford 299 for the whole entire program, you know that don't book them, and it will waste your time unless you back your sales process and to get that person to euphoria, okay? Hopefully this helps you. Remember, if you're gonna sell your services throughout the DMs, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Hopefully I didn't bore you too much and you enjoyed that. Remember to subscribe. It allows me to see which eyeballs are on the best performing videos, whether it's entertainment or value you want from you guys. Either way, I'm always going to be myself, and hopefully you guys resonate with that, all right? Cheers for watching.